Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Senate bill meant to ban TikTok on state-owned devices is in discussion in Frankfort. And millions of dollars in grants are approved for the city of Hazard and Perry County, but work still needs to be done to get that money.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
6:02 on your Thursday morning. I'm Dakota Makris. Good morning. It's Thursday. Yeah, yesterday was Wednesday. Today's Thursday. That's how that works. I don't know where my brain is right now. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at our forecast.
It's that wind. Nowhere.
It's that wind that's coming.
Apparently.
Just blowing my brain around, I guess.
Anywho.
Oh, well.
But I want to talk to you a minute about temperatures, dew points, and the wind. So that's kind of a good segue to that. So temperatures this morning, we'll start with that. There's a little bit of rain out there, but not as much. Let's go over to the temperatures and show you those. They are climbing. We had our overnight low right around midnight. We lost the Grundy sensor briefly. I'm sure it'll be back. But that's the only other spot that was in the 40s earlier except for Jonesville. They're already up into the upper 40s. But again, 60s out there, getting more widespread this morning, 50s across most of the region. When you factor in the dew points, it's not super dry. 40s and 50s is kind of more comfortable, but it's not super dry. But when you factor in winds, these are consistent wind speeds of 23, 25 out towards Somerset and Monticello, 15 in Hazard, 13 in Wise, 13 in London, 16 in Williamsburg, 10 in Moorhead, 10 in Logan. It's not going to take a whole lot for a fire to get going and spread quickly. So that is our main concern today. Just be careful with any type of fire. Don't burn if at all possible, and watch out as you maybe throw some cigarette butts out the window today. That's just not advised today. Just put them out in the car. 69, your daytime high. Those rain chances stick around for the first part of the day, and then we should start to clear out a little bit later on this afternoon. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, Republican lawmakers are proposing a bill aimed to ban drag shows and curriculum involving LGBTQ plus policies from schools. Republican lawmakers filed House Bill 173 Tuesday and Senate Bill 150 yesterday. The bill is getting strong opposition from the other side of the aisle, saying it could be dangerous for children. Grayson Passmore has more from both sides.
Mixed reactions from the Senate floor Wednesday after Senator Max Wise filed Bill 150. He says it proposes three things. One, it would require a district to notify parents when a student seeks out mental or physical health services. Two, a district must give parents a 2-week notice and an opportunity to review materials for any curriculum related to human sexuality. And three, the bill proposes it would provide First Amendment protections to staff and students by ensuring no one is compelled or required to use pronouns that do not conform to a student's biological sex.
And as the former Education Committee Chairman, I've heard from parents, I've heard from teachers, I've heard from administrators, those inside and outside of public education, and from my own constituents saying they were concerned about where our educational priorities line up in Kentucky.
Senator Karen Berg quickly took to the podium following Wise, pleading with the other senators not to pass the proposed bill. Berg has worked to shed light on LGBTQ issues after the death of her transgender son Henry, who took his own life. She says he struggled with mental illness because of his battle to find acceptance.
To the members of this body, that we avoid politicizing issues that are literally killing our children, that are literally putting them in the grave, and we are politicizing this for no reason.
While those who proposed these bills have called them the Childhood Protection and Education Act or Rights in Public Schools Education, those against it have referred to them as anti-LGBTQ plus legislation.
The bills that have been filed over the past couple of days are versions of Florida's Don't Say Gay, Don't Say Trans bill on steroids.
Now, Chris Hartman with the Fairness Campaign says his team is already prepared to fight the newest proposals.
That was Grayson Passmore reporting. The Republican from Campbellsville introduced Senate Bill 150 the day after Representative Josh Callaway introduced House Bill 173. A bill with very similar language touches on public schools course material, use of pronouns for transgender students, the instruction of race, sexual orientation, and gender identity, and ban on drag shows in school. Well, TikTok could be banned by Kentucky lawmakers on state-owned devices. Republican Senator Robbie Mills sponsored Senate Bill 20 to remove the video sharing app on government gadgets. But what would the ban mean for the future of similar programs?
That ByteDance actually owns some other, I believe it's a kind of a chat app. I think we'll just have to look at those individually. I'm not interested in regulating social media. I just think that when it's a proven fact and other states are doing it, the safest thing we can do is get it off of all of our devices as well. It's a security risk, and sometimes it may seem like just a harmless app. A lot of kids use it. I know my kids are on it and like to watch the videos and everything else, but there's, unfortunately, I think some proven more devious uses of that device than what you see on the top of the surface.
Senator Mills says the ban would not impact students' private devices on public networks like college campuses, but that there's definitely a concern with access and control foreign adversaries like the Chinese government could have on private data if not protected. A bill to lower Kentucky's income tax advanced at the state capitol yesterday. The issue already passed the House. The Senate easily passed the additional 0.5% cut. The goal is to eventually do away with Kentucky's income tax. Part of that revenue is being offset by new sales and service taxes. However, opponents say for every 1% cut you reduce $1 billion in state revenue.
We don't have huge tourist bases like Tennessee, Nevada, and Florida, and we don't have oil and gas like Texas, Alaska, and Wyoming.
Governor Andy Beshear is expected to veto the legislation, but Republicans have enough members to override that in both chambers. One Eastern Kentucky city and county has more than $41 million in approved grant money, but leaders tell us that money is not just sitting in their bank accounts. There are requirements they have to complete before funds are released. The City of Hazard and the Perry County Fiscal Court are approved for 28 grants worth more than $41 million.
It's unreal. I mean, it's the first time ever in the history of time that we have that many awards in the queue waiting.
Despite being approved, Hazard Mayor Happy Mobilini says the money has not hit their bank accounts. There are processes the city and the county must complete before money is released.
We have to go through a lot of paperwork process for the funding agencies, and that varies from one funding agency to another.
One of the requirements the city and county has to perform is an environmental review to see how a project impacts the environment. That is a 60 to 90-day process.
As they progress in the project, we will do a draw request and request those fundings from those funding agencies. So the money is maintained with that funding agency, and we just draw it down monthly.
Mayor Mobilini says the city and county do not determine when they get the money. He says the COVID-19 pandemic caused a backlog and slowed down the process.
I think within the next 3 or 4 years, with all the grants awarded, we should have so many contractors working that it'd be hard to drive anywhere without seeing the work being done.
Hoping to get much needed projects completed. In Hazard, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News. Well, the mayor tells us they have a grant to replace the water tank on Liberty Street. He says they hope to bid that project out to contractors soon.
6:11 here on this Thursday morning. Let's go right to the temperatures. That's the big story this morning, along with the winds. We're seeing 46 in Jonesville, but everybody else is in the 50s and 60s as you head out the door. The next dozen hours, the wind is going to play a big factor for us. We've already seen a 41-mile-an-hour wind gust out at the Somerset-Pulaski County Airport. So again, that's going to be doing that basically off and on throughout the day. A wind advisory is in effect now, and temperatures will soar into the upper 60s later on. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, coming up, the death toll in Turkey and Syria continues to climb as the golden time to find survivors fades away, but there's still hope. Stay with us.